listening to the Go Cry in the Walk-In podcast, and I'm Chef Cholo, and you already know. Today I have two friends with me, actually a father and son duo, David and Danny Nissan. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Pleasure to meet you.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Now, I met these guys a couple of years ago working at Crest Hollow Country Club, and what stuck out to me first was David, Danny's father. We started doing business with them, and the best way I can explain how I felt about what David did for us was, we're a big haul. We have a lot, we buy a lot of things, and traditionally, people don't want to really work with you or help you, and there's people that sell these goods, and there's people that broker these goods, and there's magazines of these goods, and you go through these magazines and you pick out the china you like, or you pick out the flatware that you like, and then you call in the salesman, and then he orders it, and then it gets delivered, and then there's this very unpersonal relationship with how we traditionally did these things. And then, along the way, you pick a pattern of something, and you're a big haul like we are, and things start breaking, and now, you got to get more, and you got to get this, and maybe something got discontinued, and you're like, all of a sudden your salesman's like, well, it's discontinued, they don't make it anymore, or, Churchill's got, a backlog, or whatever. So, you meet somebody like David Nissan, and in my opinion, when I tell this story, I tell it the same way every time. If you've seen the movie American Gangster, okay, Denzel Washington plays a very famous drug dealer, okay, and he's selling heroin on the streets of Harlem, and he's buying it in the traditional way from the mafia or the other drug lords, and he's not making a lot of money off of it, and he says to himself, well, why am I doing it this way? Why don't I go where they make heroin? And why don't I bring that heroin back myself? So David obviously is not a drug seller or a drug user, but what David had the ability to do was take our fork, take our plate, take our things that we were buying and maybe that we couldn't buy anymore, they could have been discontinued, or we weren't getting a lot of help from our vendor, and go to China and go to a factory in China and bring my plate and say, here's the plate. I want a plate made just like this, and I want to buy a whole container of them. How does something like that happen, David? How do you get into that business?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having us here, Chris. I figured out, when I started the business, I figured out what business I can go in and I make money. I straight away thought about getting some China wares and started into dollar stores. And at that time, I saw that, okay, when I'm selling these China wares in dollar stores and I'm still making money, so I thought maybe I can go into the business that they provide to the catering halls and all this.
So you said dollar stores was what originally, that's where you were selling China to?
Of course, lower quality.
Whatever. I had no idea.
Yeah, this was about 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
25 years ago, yes.
And where you have an accent, Dave. Where are you from?
I was born in Iran.
In Iran?
Yes.
And you came to this country 20 years ago, or no? You've been here a long time?
No, I came here about 38 years ago.
So before this industry, what did you do?
I was in jewelry business, in fact.
In the jewelry industry?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And you were manufacturing jewelry or selling jewelry?
I was manufacturing and selling jewelry.
So you're a jeweler. You're a trained jeweler.
I am trained jeweler. Yes.
Is that right? Now, what does that mean? Like cutting diamonds and making metal and gold? Like, what does that mean?
Buying castings, and also I was buying stones. And then I put it all together.
So you would make a watch or make a bracelet or
I would
a ring.
make rings usually.
Right.
Yes.
And then you did this here in New York?
I did in 47th Street, yes. I had a place
so in the Diamond District.
Yes.
And then what made you? So you said earlier, I'm gonna start to look at a need. You're saying I'm gonna get in something that I could do and do well. And why China? Why that?
I love the business of importing.
Importing.
Yes. So I decided to go to China and to go to some factories to see what they are doing, what the market needs. And then I started to import myself.
20 years ago.
More than that, maybe
more than that.
Yes.
And how long you been in this industry, like in the catering industry? Was we one of your first clients, or no? You were doing this a long time.
No, I was doing this long time. Yes.
And how did you come to meet us at Crest Hollow?
You know what? I said, when I saw what you guys have and what you're buying from a lot of places, and I just wanted to know what sort of pricing you were buying, because I was so confident that I can beat those pricings, and to give you the same, if not the same, other stuff way much cheaper.
And for me, with you, it's not even so much the pricing; it's the incredible level of service that you offer.
Yes.
And you're tenacious. You're like a defensive basketball player under the rim. You don't leave your position.
Yes.
You don't leave your spot. And when you turn around, you're there. You know what I mean? And in our industry, because it moves so fast, very, very valuable. And I could see why people do gravitate towards you.
Yes. Yes. Well, I give the best service. I commit myself. And I want to make sure that whoever gets anything, the price is right, the quality is right, and the service is right.
Now, are you still able to ship things overseas? How is shipping now as far as China and here goes?
It's very tough. Manufacturing also is very tough, but I'm there. Everything's under control. Shipment can take a little bit longer. Now it's slightly cheaper than about a year ago.
But things are moving again.
The things are
products
moving.
coming into the country.
Yes.
Do you ever think that this industry would start to gravitate to be done here in this country? No, they're not going to do that type of stuff.
No, I don't think.
Manufacturing of China and things like that.
Because
never really been done in this country, right?
No, but I'm surprised there's not more factories in America, because there are certain grants. If you want to start a factory in America, there's grants that they offer. It's just that the whole labor and the raw materials, it becomes a big factor.
How do they make China? What's that made out of? Glass?
Mainly clay.
Clay. You're a smart guy. What do you mean grants? Talk to me about grants.
So, there's a lot of different grants. If you're an immigrant, there is grants. If you open up a factory in America, there is grants, certain areas.
Wow.
If you meet certain requirements, or majority of the requirements, they offer you certain grants to build a factory in America.
Now, again, I didn't know your son at first. I had only met you. And we're going to transition to the young man right now. And he always amazes me because this kid never stops thinking. Okay, so let's rewind to now. Again, before pandemic, I knew you guys to be flatware, glassware, tablecloths, those types of things. Never food. Pandemic hits. We're doing our thing at Crest Hollow. We're not, we're kind of shut down, but we're feeding people. We have the country club open, and then you guys are visiting. You're coming by, hey chef, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like, you're selling food now? Tell me a little bit about how that whole thing came about for you.
Sure. Well, I was always looking for opportunities. Even as a kid, my father.
Like what your old man said about the plates.
But he was always my father was always giving me opportunities. As well. As a kid, I was going with him to China. So I would visit all these factories and I would build relationships, and I would see my dad buy stuff for pennies and sell them for dollars.
Right.
And I was always fascinated by that. As a kid, I didn't want to go to school. I wanted to hang out with my dad, and sell. If my dad was going to China, for me it was a vacation. I would love to I don't want to do calculus. I wanted to go with him to China. So over time, as I started to get older and started becoming 18 years old, and I was finishing high school, I was telling my dad, there is an opportunity here. If you're selling a bunch of different items to dollar stores, what if we made things of better quality for a higher markup, and we'll start to distribute plates and glassware, since you already have the relationships, and because it's one of the best-selling items that we had. Let's eliminate all the cheaper items that you were selling to dollar stores that is not bringing in a lot of money, but let's focus on great quality products.
So it's like the steakhouse thing. Sell one steak for $70 instead of selling 3 hamburgers for $10 each, right?
Right.
That's what we're talking about.
Right. So,
and that was your idea. Take credit, because your old man's right here.
No, so he started the business into dollar stores, but then as we became as I was 18 years old, I decided to transition over to sell the products to hospitality. And
what was your first big client?
My first big client
for flatware.
It's general. So general items. We were selling a lot to Marriott. Was probably one of my biggest customers. Marriott Courtyard.
Now, are you doing work with people like Marriott just locally, or do you end up taking nationwide contracts and things like that? If you get a Marriott here on Long Island, are you able to get Marriotts all over the place?
The ones that are corporate are different than the ones that are franchise owned.
So most of these hotels are like franchise owned.
Franchise owned. It's the question is how many of these this franchisee, how many does he own? So if he has 4, chances are if you get 1, you'll get all 4.
You could grab all 4 because
Yeah.
you are aggressive. You work very hard.
Right. Right.
These guys will bring your food or your glassware in a Tesla or a Prius. I'm not going to say what happened to the Springs the other day.
Oh man,
What?
disaster, man.
Did you get that car fixed?
He put one too many boxes in there, and the whole
One too many. I
Tesla-
told you guys can't turn a Tesla into a truck. They will do anything in their power to get you this product, and that is something I value and I respect more than anything about you guys. So when I see people, I want to have you. I want to have you guys around me. You notice, right? I go somewhere, I bring you with me. I go over
always
there,
appreciate that,
I
Chris.
bring you with me because I know this industry. I know that we don't have people working with us anymore. There was a time when I was a young man, the salesman for this company, the salesman for that company, they were aggressive. They wanted to like work with you. They were excited with the chefs. Somehow that dropped off. You know what I mean? When as Long Island got taken over by the bigger box, let's just say the bigger box distributors, you know, the personal issue wasn't so important. They give you a good price, and they did meet the price, but service is a thing. You know what I mean? It's a big thing for us, and you know, you two guys, you never ever stop offering that service. So,
well, you know what it is, Chef? It's we just love working with meeting people, building relationships, and love what we do. And you know, we compete with each other all the time. And you know, for us to satisfy a customer,
and we're not the nicest
bring in the value,
people.
You know what it is? It's the love and the passion. That's really what it comes down to. When you love something so much and you really love the people that you're working with, we'll do anything. We'll break our backs for you because we love it that much and we want to make sure that you're happy and that you know you'll see the value. And over time, when you'll see the value, eventually over time we'll make our money. But in the beginning, we make sure to bring the value
that
first.
too, and I've noticed that. You know what I mean? You don't squabble over something today because I think you understand the value of fixing something today is keeping you in this little circle for a very long time. Sure. And it's hard for somebody to look past a mistake like that. You know, it could be a big mistake, couple $1,000 mistake. And most people are not willing to eat even if it's their mistake, are not willing to eat that kind of mistake. And time again, I've seen you guys do that. And in my mind, I like to think that pays off for you and your future, and I hope that does. You know what I mean? And
for sure.
You know, I can't say that enough for how I admire that.
Yeah, I mean, I've always told them, you know, we're not in Crest Hollow because we give you guys the cheapest price that possibly exists or the best quality or because of our relationship. I think we're in Crest Hollow because whenever there was an issue at 8 o'clock at night, you needed an emergency at 10 p.m., we were there when nobody else would even pick up their phone.
No one would even respond.
You know,
I just
nobody
wanted
would even
to say
respond.
that.
No one would even respond.
You know? I remember that once we delivered merchandise many times, in fact, after 10 p.m.
After 10 o'clock at
The other
night.
People won't even answer your call after 5:01. That's it.
On the weekend, you wanted an emergency. Some emergencies that you didn't have,
Same-day
we were
delivery.
there for you in an hour to deliver whatever you wanted.
The restaurant supply industry, as a young man on Long Island, was gigantic. There was houses everywhere. And if you look at this thing for the last 15, 20 years, this guy got bought by that guy. That guy bought that guy. That guy bought that guy. Now there's like 2 guys left. You know what I mean?
Not a lot of competition.
Not a lot of competition anymore. In walks David and Danny. You know what I mean? 2 guys hungry. I mean, hungry. I want to use that word.
We're starving.
Starving.
We go after everything, small, big,
You don't
doesn't
care,
matter.
this kid.
We're not one to turn down any business from anybody.
Case of oranges. You're working with like 3 different large produce companies bringing produce from. How do you You're a broker. Is that what you are now? In essence, a broker.
Well, we formed a buying group. I like to call it a buying group.
A buying group.
A buying group. Basically, you know, during the pandemic, the world went to shit.
Totally.
And nobody was buying plates and glassware.
Right.
But we had to find an opportunity because we're still starving, man. We got to figure out a way to
gotta
keep
work.
rolling, no doubt. So, we came across certain customers that had government contracts. So I said, listen, hey, man, we already have a relationship together. You're not buying any plates, but you're buying apples, you're buying oranges. If I'm able to get you these apples, these oranges at a better price, would you be willing to do some business? They're like,
Right.
well, if you're able to get a better price, we're all for, saving $1.
Everybody wants to save
doubt.
money.
No doubt. So I found my suppliers and I said, hey, listen, I'm involved in government contracts and I want to give you guys the opportunity to participate in them. but I need a really good price to get my foot in the door.
So you use that same language when you went to the people that were selling apples and oranges.
Absolutely. But
You speak about government contracts, and that could resonate.
it opened up their eyes.
It could resonate to
opened
them
their
because
eyes.
now they're saying, well, what kind of business is this kid going to run in a toilet right now?
Right. At first they didn't believe it. They're like, listen, man, how you gonna move 1,000 cases?
You're a little guy.
Yeah, I mean, who are you gonna sell 1,000 cases of apples to? Nobody's buying quantities like that.
No, but you
telling
reassured them.
I'm telling them, give me the right price and guarantee me the product, and I can guarantee you I'm gonna make things happen.
They're gone. These apples will be gone.
They gave me a chance. They're like, all right, man, if you think you can do something, and when you're talking these quantities, you're not dealing with a salesman, you're dealing with the owners of these places, and these are people that you can't even touch. Now we're sitting face to face, negotiating and discussing, and we're able to move the price a little bit. They're like, all right, you do one, you two, and they bite. The customer bites, you give them a good deal, and now you're starting to do business, and now you're selling them 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and now you're building a relationship.
And now when you say to me, you made a deal with somebody, you're talking about a guy that has a company that distributes already anyway, that has salesmen on the street.
Absolutely. But
You're not saying you went to the guy that sold apples to him. You went to the guy that was already buying apples, oranges, celery, carrots, and
from other suppliers,
potatoes.
right? Other suppliers, but I gave all of these big suppliers an opportunity to have access to
be a part
of this project that we're working on, and to bring them in new business.
Wow.
And say during the pandemic, everybody was open to new business.
Wow.
The question is, can you get it?
Can
I told
you
them,
get
yes, I can get it. If you work with me, I'll be able to work with you. And so they said, all right, let's see if we can do something, and we did, and we started to sell a lot of different items from different places, and we were able to build good relationships. But eventually, as the pandemic started to wind down, I was telling my father, I said, listen, we have already all of these customers that we're working with. We already have relationships. We already have that side taken care of. But now that we built relationships on the other side, what are we going to do? Just go back and forget about these relationships?
Right.
Because these relationships, it's gold. There's no price on it. It's so valuable, but there's no price on it.
There's no leads list floating around for anything like that.
So I went to them. I said, hey, listen, I give you guys millions of dollars of business during a time when nobody was giving you guys business. And I can continue to do this with my other clients that I already have.
Right.
But I need you to support me and continue giving me these good prices because my customers are counting on me. And the service has been there for me. When I needed something at 5 a.m., you better damn believe they were there at 5 a.m. I said I need the same service for these customers, and we're gonna really blow this thing up. So they said they're on board. If we're able to bring in some new business, we'd love to participate in this opportunity. But you know what it is with food is that the prices change every day, and everybody has different prices.
Yes, sir.
So I can't. I have no choice. I can't stick with one supplier.
Nope.
I gotta work with several suppliers and price everybody out and form a buying group so that when Chris wants certain items, this supplier will get one item, another customer will get another product, but at least Chef Chris is happy because he knows he's getting the absolute best price.
And that's what I love about you guys is your passion. And you know me, I'm a passionate person. Some to the point where it's a fault, okay? And people have told me, listen, Chef, you got to calm down. But listen, guys, I really appreciate you coming in today and chopping it up with me a little bit.
Oh, we appreciate
it. And
I
look forward to our future together. And, really, a lot of respect here.
Thank you so much.
A lot of respect here.
It's a pleasure always.
And again, you're listening to the Go Crying to Walk In podcast. And I'm Chef Cholo, and you already know.
Thank you.
That's cool, man. All right.
Thank you.